But you're blabbering. I'm gonna go right. What are you guys doing here? This is my shed. I'm 11. I'm the only one in the shed. I just told you to get out of here. Get out of here. Do you even know who I am? I'm Roald Dahl, one of the greatest writers of the 20th century. I guess you still don't know much about me though, do you? Tell you something about myself. I was born in 1916, land of Wales. The parents of Harold and Sophie Dahl. My father had one arm, but that's a different story. Troubles began early in my life. I was 3 years old. And my older sister, she was age 7, she died of pneumonia. My father, he just could not deal with this. It was terrible. So he died about 3 weeks after my sister died. My mother, she could not handle this. She was depressed for a while, but eventually she took over the household. She was a very strong woman. And she wanted the best for me. So at age 7, she enrolled me in Lambeth Cathedral School. Hated school, always hated school. But there was a candy store in the school. Went to the candy store every day. I should have gotten fat, but I didn't. I loved the candy. They even had gobstoppers, which I later put into my book, telling the chocolate factory. And school was a drag, and I was really glad to come home. So I came home, and we went on a trip to Norway. We always do with our family. And vacation in Norway. Norway is the most beautiful country in the world, hands down. So we were in Norway. We love to visit islands. My mother and I would visit islands. I have memories of that Norway trip. Great place. But on the way back from Norway, I had this half-sister from my mother's previous marriage. And she was driving the car. Back in those days, you only needed about 30 minutes driving experience to drive a car. She was driving, and she hit a turn too fast. The car flipped. We all flew out of the car. Everyone in the car, except for me. I flew through the windshield, nearly chopped my nose off. And so she sent me back to the house. I was holding my nose, like, let it stop. The doctor came by after about 4 hours. He sewed my nose back on. After that trip to Norway, my mother enrolled me in St. Peter's Prep School. Hated St. Peter's too. I've always hated school. But there were 2 things at St. Peter's. First, there was a matron. The matron was this woman. She would prowl the hallways at night. She would literally prowl the hallways at night looking for little boys. And she would say, you, go to the headmaster. The headmaster would say, touch your toes, little boys. Headmaster would get this big yellow cane, hit the boys on the butt 3 times. That was your punishment. And I later put the matron, she was such a terrible woman, I put her in my story Matilda as Mrs. Trumbull. But also, while I was at St. Peter's Prep School, I started writing letters to my mother. And I've written letters to my mother 2 days a week for 35 years, until today. After St. Peter's, my mother sent me to Repton, which was a very, very nice English school. My father wanted me to go to English school. So my mother sent me there. Hated Repton too. And so after Repton, I was done with school. My mother said, Dahl, you need to go to university. I said, sorry Mom, I need to see the world. So I took a job with the Shell Oil Company in Newfoundland. And they sent me to London, England. That job was a drag. But then I went to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And in Tanzania, I saw the most wonderful animals. Not wonderful, they're like awe-inspiring, they were terrifying. I saw crocodiles, black mambas, and that influenced my story, the animal was crocodile. After Tanzania, I went to the RAF, Royal Air Force. I love flying planes. I learned to fly planes for free. That's pretty much why I joined. That's the best feeling in the world, flying planes. Oh, actually bad. But I was flying planes. I went to Libya. That was in Libya. I was shooting down airplanes, and they gave me directions to go to an Air Force base. So I went to the Air Force base. They gave me the wrong coordinates. So I ended up in sand. It was just a big desert. Running out of gas. Thought I found a strip of sand to land in. There was a boulder there. Plane hit the boulder. Plane was destroyed. I smashed they tell me, this is what they tell me. I smashed my face against the dashboard of the plane, and my face was destroyed. And I woke up about 3 days later in a hospital, blind and deaf, but that only lasted for about my head, something magic happened. I think I became a good writer by hitting my head that hard on the dashboard of the plane. So I wrote my first story, entitled A Piece of Cake, about my wartime adventures, just flying on the RAF. That earned me a literary prize of $1,000. So I thought, hey, maybe I can be a great writer. So I started my career writing for Playboy, writing stories for Playboy. And it was an okay job, didn't make much money. But I don't know, I thought maybe this won't work out. But so I married an American actress, Patrice O'Neill, after that. She was a beautiful, lovely woman. We had some kids. Marriage wasn't going too great, we had kids. But she suffered a stroke about 7 years into our marriage. She was never the same. It was hard living with our kids. Right after she had her stroke, our 7-year-old daughter, Olivia, she died of sickness. I just didn't know what to do. But I started telling bedtime stories to my kids when they go to sleep. And this is where I came up with my stories. I started telling stories like James and the Giant Cherry, and then James and the Giant Peach later. But I just started telling stories. And these stories came into my books. These are the books you all know and love. Matilda, I don't know that, probably. No. Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, Fantastic Mr. Fox.